something that is rattling around in my head here is, like, I think, most likely you see a game where Mahomes and Allen are trading. And, these two defenses really can't keep up, and it's that kind of game. But I feel like that is predicated on the Chiefs' reputation more than it is what they have looked like for almost the entirety of this season. And because of that, but despite that, it's still, to me, the most likely outcome is that, because Mahomes is great, he'll find a way and whatever. Maybe some guy we've never really thought about will come through for Kansas City in the passing game or something. I don't know. But riding right behind that trading bombs idea is kind of a comfortable one side, like a comfortable Bills win, because the Chiefs offense has not been as good as the Bills offense all year, like I'm saying. So I think the next most likely thing to me is 30-20 or something, like a 10-point, kind of like the game here that the Bills and Chiefs played.
Season.
Yeah, right. I mean, they needed the late score to make it a 9-point game, but they got it. I don't know. I just, that's the kind of game I'm thinking about here.
You aren't wrong about anything that you're saying. The MVP conversation. When did Mahomes exit it? In the middle of the year? It wasn't even part of it at all, and that's because of the numbers. And once we were getting the larger sample size, people are like, okay, I get it. Last week, he didn't even throw for 200 yards. Now, that's a very tough matchup, tougher than they're going to see this week against the Bills in the Texans, but it's not like he had an unbelievable game. Now, we got playoff Kelsey, so that makes me think, okay, maybe that guy is going to take it to the level that many of us have been expecting for the playoffs or just waiting for Kansas City all season long, getting his 20th playoff touchdown, and before it's all said and done, he's going to break Jerry Rice's postseason records. Like, that's how impressive he's been. So I thought that was interesting, but it's not like Mahomes had this lights out game. And where else is it going to go? Now, they've been getting healthier at the right time, but yeah, outside of Kelsey, where's it going to go? We didn't really see it that much last week. I thought this one number was interesting, just maybe it's more from a prop perspective or somebody else to look out for, because you guys had mentioned Worthy earlier in the show. And I think a lot of people are looking for those gadget players on Kansas City, Andy Reid, just what you're not expecting coming out of nowhere. Stuckey over at the Action Network had mentioned this, and I thought it was pretty interesting, that going into the playoffs this year, if you look at their last 20 playoff games, in 19 of the 20 playoff games, they had non-traditional receivers running the ball. So, so Worthy at a prop of 2.5 rushing yards was something that stood out. And, maybe sometimes you make a big play. We had a conversation about Super Bowl MVP, and if you're going down the board, okay, let's go over Kansas City. Who's the guy? And a lot of people ended up on Worthy at about 70-1 as a super long shot.
Oh, buddy.
Idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
They have to win. I mean, I'm not going to – I have to say that here in Buffalo. I have to say that. But, Kadarius Toney was pretty close to Super Bowl MVP, or at least having an argument for it. But Mahomes hadn't won 3 yet. And so now – if they get there, we'll just cap this here. But if they get there,
thank you.
I would love somebody else on the Chiefs. The random defensive player is always an idea for Super Bowl MVP, and that could be anybody. Like yesterday, we talked about this for a minute. Anybody comes up with 2 interceptions or 3 sacks or something, and it's a lower scoring game, then maybe they win.
Yeah.
But I think better chance. This is why Lamar Jackson will not win the regular season MVP award this year. And how did that go? But I think better chance it's a Chiefs player who does that in that game than a Bills player. Because if it's a Bills player, it's still Allen winning his first. And, Mahomes didn't have a great game when they beat San Francisco the first time. Damian Williams might have deserved that award, but Mahomes got it.
Yeah, defensive players, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen once in a while. I took a couple of long shots last week, and I could tell you what those numbers are now. I did take a KC player. I took Chris Jones at 170-1 last week, and now I think he's about 120. You could find him as high as. He could be that. Yes, it's going to be tough to beat Mahomes. It's going to be tough to beat Kelsey. I get all that. But maybe he could have that Von Miller type of game. And also Jalen Carter last week was 650 to 1. And now he's 120 to 1 after having an outstanding game last week in the Eagles' victory. So, yeah, it happens once in a while. If you can get a big number like triple digits, certainly worth a look as far as that goes.
Weren't you two on Bosa last year?
I was waiting to say there was a year here where I liked that idea. We've been doing this long enough that I remember
last year.
It was just last year. Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah, Von Miller was the last one where it's come through. It's tough. It's tough. I did take James Cook too. It's been a while. Who's the last running back to be the Super Bowl MVP? Do you guys know that?
Ooh, I want to know. Wow. Terrell Davis.
Yes. 1998. Very good.
You have a mini helmet? Is that how you?
No, I didn't. I started to collect them all, and then I decided I didn't want anybody like the Brady Manning guys, so I stopped at the first 30. But I have the first 30. But Terrell Davis against Green Bay is the last one. That's good. That's a good question.
That's shocking. So I was thinking about that because obviously took a dart throw on James Cook, and then just the Eagles. So who's the most likely Eagle? The odds are always going to be the shortest on the quarterback.
That's good. That's good.
I think they should be the shortest on Saquon.
Me too.
Yeah. So he's 5-1, and Hurts is also 5-1. If you don't mind a shorter number, and the number is saying the Eagles are going to win and play in the Super Bowl. It's a 6-point spread in this game. What is that number next week? It's going to be pretty darn short. Maybe he's going to be the second favorite on the board. That could be the case. So, yeah, I think Saquon this week, 5-1 because of that number. It makes sense. Like, that's going to go down. And why would it not happen with a guy that had over 2,000 rushing yards? And look at the playoff he's put together. You would assume everything's going to go through him again if they make the Super Bowl.
Good stuff.
Where is Jaden Daniels in all this?
Jaden Daniels, well, it's funny. Basically, the Super Bowl MVP number for Jaden Daniels is the same as the Commanders' Super Bowl win number. Like, there's no difference, and that makes sense. If they're going to win it, it's going to be because of Daniels. I don't see how they could win the Super Bowl, and he's not the MVP. It's 8-1 for both of those numbers.
So you just bet the team?
Yeah, I would just bet the team. Yeah.
You like him at all this week?
No. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I'm not there, but it could. I mean, listen, he has that high ceiling where it could happen. We're talking about a spot with the fourth straight road game. I think about the difference of going on the road and facing a Lions defense with a lot of backups throughout the year, as opposed to this Vic Fangio defense with Jalen Carter in the middle going against a backup guard now because of the Cosme injury. I don't think it's going to be great for the Commanders, even though I shouldn't doubt them. The fourth down rate, I don't know how much longer this can continue with what they're doing every game, but I think it's going to be a different situation.
For me, the biggest reason to doubt them, Joe, is that they're new, and like that just shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't just show up like this with a rookie quarterback and make the Super Bowl. It's not unprecedented, but it's very rare, and so like that's in my head, but. On the other side of that is point well taken on the Eagles' defense. How much do you trust Hurts? How healthy is he? And their passing game, like they've been kind of janky for a while on offense, in and out. Like, so I don't know. Like, to me, they're susceptible to just a bad day.
100%. How healthy is Hurts? How healthy is A.J. Brown? He has been a no-show in the playoffs. He's clearly still dealing with the knee. He has 24 yards in 2 playoff games. He's done absolutely nothing so far. So, yeah, that is definitely a concern, and it's understandable, and I think everything is once again going to go through Saquon. I don't expect them to run Hurts as much as they normally do throughout the season. And you look at Saquon's last 4 games, he's averaging 30 touches. He demolished this Commanders defense in the regular season as well. So I don't really expect that to change with what he's done. 348 total yards in their 2 matchups for Saquon.
Joe, not so much a question about the numbers or the odds, but as we talked about for a moment this morning, the stakes when it comes to the Bills and the Chiefs and what we'll be talking about, what football fans will have to work with for the next year based on the outcome of this game, what Bills fans will have to work with. I mean, it is so time for them to win. They have beaten Kansas City in the regular season 4 years in a row. And, like, who wants to even talk about that unless they win this game? I mean, if they don't, they will have lost 4 out of 5 years to Kansas City in the playoffs. The Chiefs have lost 7 home games in the last 4 regular seasons, 3 against the Bills. Like, you know how it is. I mean, whether we got into this business to be on camera or not, we got into it to talk about this kind of thing, like the legacy stuff. And this is just a classic example of a game of that importance.
It's remarkable. So when is it going to turn? And I know that's how you guys are framing this and talking about it. Is it going to be time? Since the day the season started, we were talking about this moment, right? It's in the back of everyone's mind. Even though, maybe nationally the expectation was for the Bills to take a step back, here we are again, AFC Championship at Arrowhead, and they've done it in the regular season. It's just a matter of doing it this time of year. And I know with the way that things went last week that everybody's, here we go again. And even Troy Aikman was so bothered by it. I thought that was quite amusing. But, yeah, man, I can't wait. This is why we're in the business. This is why we're all football fans. I like the Bills in the game. I think the best bet is the teaser. I hooked that teaser in a lot of ways last week because you got the Bills at plus 7.5. Like every game I could find, I'm like, let's tease it with the Bills. And you can get them plus 8 right now. If you like Philly, you just need Philly to win the game if you want to make that combo there. But love that. I like Allen to score an anytime touchdown. I think over 9.5 rush attempts, also not a bad look as well, as teams have certainly run on the Chiefs with mobile quarterbacks throughout the playoffs and much of the year.
I saw quickly, Joe, Alex Gold from KC tweet that, like, Bills money line is the number 1 most bet and the Kansas City money line is the number 3. Is it true that, like, nobody bets the spread when it's 2 or less? You just bet money lines?
I do, but
you tease it.
It's popular. Yeah, I'll tease it. And, if I think this game's going down to the last possession and getting the plus 2, I don't mind paying the 10 cents, the minus 110. So I'll do that. I don't mind it. It's funny, though. I would be careful with that because every sports book, the action is different. So I don't know which sports book Alex was getting that information with. For instance, the other day, we got that same information, in this case from BetMGM, and the most popular bet was Commanders' money line. So you never know. And you also have to consider, okay, which states are legal with that sports book and where are they exactly? Because if they're in, Pennsylvania and they're not in the D.C. area, that's going to be thrown off.
Right.
Only so many times you can knock on the door, Joe. Time to walk through. Right, so, that's what this game. There's a lot of. I think I've been thinking it for a while more about Allen and the MVP than it was like their entire season. But like it's time. It's time. There's Chiefs fatigue. These teams are both good. They've been button heads here for 5 years. It's time. Like I would understand if a fan that is tired of the Chiefs turns this game on Sunday night and the Bills let everybody down again. Like, just come on, Bills. Like, it's not quite like the 4 Super Bowls in a row, that kind of fatigue. But really, the opportunity they have here is just it's as good an opportunity as I think they could ever have hoped for. I mean,
totally agree.
You'd like to be at home, sure, right? Come on, somebody hit a field goal, whatever, like ding the Chiefs a couple times, and maybe we're just sitting here with our feet up waiting for KC to come to town. But all the same, I think they've been the better team all year, so just go do it.
Something we've talked about before, but I see it now more than ever, and you guys are in the eye of the storm, so maybe you don't even think about this, but just from being outside of the area, I feel like the Bills are the national team, America's team now. I see more Bills fans, even in the Midwest, than I ever have before. I'm in the dentist chair for an hour and a half yesterday, and my dentist is talking about how her husband is a crazy Bills fan at the game against the Ravens this weekend, and she was a little concerned. I'm like, what are you worried about? She's like, well, a few years ago we got this new TV, and they lost to the Chiefs in overtime in the playoffs. he won't watch that TV. We have this TV sitting there. And so the concern is there is a new TV arriving on Saturday, the day before the game. He's going to get it all set up. She's like, Joe, what if they lose? We got to get another TV. He's never going to watch it. He might smash it.
Good thing that your dentist is this person's spouse and not him, because I don't think I'd want that guy working on my teeth.
No, you get your mouth pried open, you get those tools, and he's just,
I can't
going
watch
on
my
and on.
TV anymore because
Right.
Well, I don't think I could have that. But the spouse, I guess that's fine. Joe, thanks for this, and also the invite this morning. It was really fun. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Talk next week about the Bills Super Bowl matchup.
Let's go. Joe Ostrowski, BetQL Daily, also Sundays with Jason Lockenfora. You can hear his content on our station locally, the Bet 1520, although I don't think they have their own local stream. You could stream BetQL,
That's correct. Right.
though, if you want to see Joe and Sam, and in today's case, me. 30 seconds left. The Bills score a touchdown to make it 28-27.
Okay.
What happens next?
I go for 2, so the worst that can happen is they can tie me with a field goal.
You're down by 1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're down 28-27.
Oh,
30 seconds left.
I'm going for 2.
The overtime rules in the playoffs give you a possession each.
They do.
You're going for 2.
Yes.
And Allen is not letting go of the ball.
Right. Ever.
And Kansas City knows that, and he's going to have to run through the whole thing.
Yes. If it's not there, I'm going to need him to run backwards toward his own goal line the way Bo Jackson used to do, or the way he used to do with Bo Jackson on Super Tecmo Bowl, and then just run around until all the Chiefs players break their legs or tear the ACLs, and then he'll score.
They just get tired and fall.
Yes.
At least.
Yes.
I don't want it to be necessarily as bad as what you're saying.
I would like it if the music were playing, too. The Super Tecmo Bowl music. That would be ideal.
Are y'all going for 2 in that spot? 30 seconds down 1 after a touchdown? Let's go. 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldogs. Sal at 5. We've got our stream up and running at Twitch and YouTube. WGR Live is what you want to search there, or Facebook Live. Don't search our names. My wife did that yesterday. She found a clip of us doing an interview 18 years ago.
I've seen
That's what came up.
I've seen. I like how I look in that clip.
This is better.
Which is not shocking because it's 18 years
You
ago.
don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Bulldog does. You don't. Back after the update here on WGR.
We know you can't hear every moment of Sabres
Is for some recipe.
She's right again. But they're so I just can't give the speech again. The aluminum foil costs more than bananas. They're so cheap. Like, I bought 2 bunches, not big, small, but like 8 bananas in total. Because you don't want to just be short on bananas. They're so cheap.
Sure, it
cost me $1.14.
I would never buy 2 bananas.
Two bananas.
It's
how do you even write that?
It's
Alex.
It's not. You always miss the point, Alex. I'm sorry to bore you with this, and the entire audience.
He's not bored.
I want the bananas to be optimally ripe. I don't want brown, spotty, mushy, crappy bananas.
Right.
So, thank you, Alex. So,
wait a minute.
like preserving them with the foil keeps them greener longer.
Foil.
So that's it. I'm just preserving them so that, like, on Wednesday, if I buy them on Sunday, by Wednesday, and I'm making my protein shake in the morning, they're still good, and they're going to believe me, the shake tastes vastly different with a very yellow, mushy banana than it does with a greener, like, barely ripe banana.
Come on.
When Sal Capaccio joins the show, coming up in just about a half hour at 5 o'clock. To the Sabres, they're in action today, still out west. They're taking on Calgary at 9, pregame starting right here on WGR at 8. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net. And a reminder, catch Sal Capaccio as he takes you behind the scenes on Bills Championship Game Day with his all-access Facebook Live from Kansas City on the WGR Facebook page, presented by Corona Extra. Touchdown to the Fine Life with Corona Extra for the fans who never lose. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Kickoff 2025 with a new Chevy from Paddock. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I don't even think anybody necessarily even looks into the past. You know, I think this team this year is really good at just being in the moment, in the present moment, and focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. You know, everything that's happened in the past, win or lose, it doesn't mean anything. We play them this week, and they're a great team, and they've done different things since the last time we played them, you know. So it's right back to putting in the preparation and the studying throughout the week to get ready for the game.
Khalil Shakir leading by far the Bills in receiving stats here in the 2 postseason games. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550 on the stream today. Again, it's going to be every day, YouTube and Twitch. When Joe Ostrowski was on, I was trying the old Kevin Burkhardt, Joe Buck move whenever Joe was talking of looking at the camera and smiling. Like, really, there's any point in doing that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. You gestured a few times. What was that?
That was me overacting gestures toward you about like what I wanted to say next, or whether you should talk next, or what, giving people a not necessarily so realistic glimpse into how this actually normally works. Good job then, because I didn't know what the hell you were doing, because you've never it. One time. Well, I shouldn't say one time. Occasionally, we have a couple signals, but mostly I don't know. I feel like I can tell when you're about to wind down, and I think you can tell when I'm about to wind down. Sometimes I run on and I do things like I sort of go like this, and I'm running out of gas, and you're not sure if I have a point, and then you'll start and then say sorry, and I go, nah, it's done. That does happen sometimes. Because I have a tendency to sort of trail. Here, this will be just for the new streaming viewers. Sorry, I don't have my helmets today. I do have my curling pass from the Grand Slam of curling. Oh, and we're so happy to see that. But here, I will just show the people watching one actual signal that I do have that we use. Mm-hmm. All right. Right. You know that one? Yes. You're going to say something quick, and then it's my turn to ask the next question. It's often a reset of who we're talking to. A reset is like, this is Joe Ostrowski on the Western Hotline joining us like halfway through the segment. No, whatever. But this is, I got a follow-up. Okay. All right. Just a quickie. Yeah. Either way, I know it's like, don't jump in here. I know. I wait for you to say something. Bills score with 30 seconds left to cut the Chiefs' lead to 1. All I really do is sit over here and flip you off. I don't think I want to do that on camera. No, I've never done that either. Never? That's never happened? Okay. I don't think so. No. I'm not a flipper. I don't think I've ever flipped anyone off.
almost.
I don't see the point.
I never do it in anger.
It's to be funny.
I do it to friends.
To friends.
I do it to my kids. I do it to just like yeah. I mean, I consider that an endearing greeting.
I think I've never done it once.
Oh, you're young.
I'm old enough for that to be maybe something. I don't think I've ever given the finger. Ever. What's the point? Like you're making one is you're just doing it to be funny.
I'm turning it around. Yeah,
I use actual jokes.
I'm
That's what I do instead. It's different. I use actual jokes.
Me flipping
that.
off my friends is an actual joke.
Like that, for instance. Mike is on WGR. Hello, Mike.
You're testing that. I've never flipped
Hi,
you off.
guys.
Thing.
How
I'll
are
tell you
Hi,
right
Mike.
now.
Hey, the reason for the call is I think that the Buffalo Bills have finally learned their lesson. And I don't think that the game is going to come down to Patrick Mahomes having a chance to win it at the end of the game or a referee making a bad call causing the game to be lost. I think they're going to put their foot down, they're going to step on their neck, and they're going to beat them 48-17, and at halftime it's going to be 28-7. I think Josh Allen is going to have a huge game.
All right. I mean, I've opened the door to that. I mean, I don't know about 48 to what did he say, 17 or
I believe 17.
I mean that awesome. I said to Joe Ostrowski last segment and earlier already today, my second most likely scenario in this game is that the Bills are the better team, and Nance and Romo are just like all year. A lot of people have thought the Chiefs had the better record, but the Bills had the better metrics or something like that. I don't know. I'm having a hard time imagining Tony Romo use the word metrics like that for some reason. But
I could see it.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just I feel like that is this game. And, you know, that's the emotion and the, you know, all of it, of being here, how much we want it. So, you know, I don't want to, like, scream from a mountaintop the Bills are going to win 48-17.
48-17.
But I'm just not at all surprised if the Bills win this game comfortably. That's all. That's as far as I want to go. I don't want to get to like 48-17, kill them territory, 28-7 at halftime.
It doesn't.
Although 28-7 at halftime isn't that far off of 21-10, really. I mean, it's not that far off. It's one more touchdown.
I mean, it's not much to say, like, here's why they won't win 48-17. But they don't play like that. Like, they're not. This caller's talking about just like what? The Kelly Bills, or maybe the 21 Bills, where it's just, yeah, we're just going to throw all over you. This team won't run enough plays to score 48 points. They don't want to do that. Plus, if you get ahead early like that, you're especially not going to do it. So the only way you're scoring in the 40s, there's two ways you're scoring in the 40s. One is if Kansas City is scoring in the 30s or 40s, and another is if you score twice on defense.
Sure. Or they're just giving you the ball.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the only. They're going to run James Cook and throw 1.5 passes to Coleman, Cooper, and Samuel, and Collins. 6, 7, 8 targets to those 4 guys.
Hard disagree from me. I've got Allen with like a irresistibly impressive performance in the game that's in my head. That's a comfortable Bills win, and much like we saw all the tendencies broken on defense last week against Baltimore, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Allen threw for 350 in this game. But it's the game where they go, yeah, you wondered all year why we traded for Amari Cooper. Here it is. That to me is in the window here. It's not to say I think they've been playing possum with their passing game all this time.
I love possum.
But it would make sense if they have not been showing off everything since December 1st. They clinched the division. Like, yeah, they were still vying for the 1 seed, but I think everything sort of came with a, yeah, that's enough. We got to do enough. And they did enough, and they won. I just think you could be due for an explosion from Allen in the passing game in this game.
Isn't that the Chiefs, too? Probably. Isn't that what maybe a Chiefs fan will also say about the Chiefs? Due for an explosion. Like, all year it's been how bad they are. There was a guy in Buffalo who was like, they're bad. It was me.
You could do the same thing. I don't think you've got games this year to point at, though.
Well,
the Bills do.
Which defense is more vulnerable? Got to be Buffalo. We'll find out about whatever today's news is on the guys, from injuries. But
I'm optimistic about everybody but Rapp.
You're saying this week the Bills won't get to Mahomes. So they're going to take the ball away 3 times and score touchdowns and do that anyway?
Sure. Or maybe they'll get to him.
Okay. All right. That'd be cool.
What I'm saying going into the game is they don't have a guy that is even Chris Jones or the guys that Houston had. But I don't know, man. I can't shake it. Like, I sat on it for 4 days here. Monday morning, I woke up and they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. Now, it had some bourbon Sunday night.
48-17?
But who knows? But not a lot. Not enough to be drunk at 7 in the morning when I woke up on Monday.
Listen, that sounds like a personal attack.
What, the bourbon or the what?
Being drunk at 7 in the morning sounds like I took that personally. I choose to take that personally.
I mean, you can go ahead, but I was not saying it pejoratively at all.
No, but it's been a sort of a tense segment with the thing about the finger and the different things. I'm taking all of it personally. I've decided.
It's all a slight. Yeah,
it's all a slight.
Use it for fuel, Mike. The show's not even half over, so you might need anything. Who knows?
It's not even half over. The Sabres play tonight in Calgary with pregame at 8.
Great.
Now you're taking that personally. Sal will join us at 5, talk about injuries. There's an award for Assistant Coach of the Year. Is that new?
I don't know.
It's kind of a little bit new. DeMar Hamlin is up for Comeback Player of the Year, coming back from...
Not winning Comeback Player of the Year last year.
Coming back from the personal attack of not having won the award last year.
Exactly what he's coming back from.
Oh, my God. The award just got weirder. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Former NFLer and Odyssey.
Saying this to make you feel any ounce of guilt. The only reason I thought about coming in today was to see coming in today was to see if you brought my snow pants back.
Oh, no, I didn't.
You asked me on Friday, right? Or Thursday, I think, right? Your brother-in-law, Florida.
Yeah, I didn't.
You got some. Yeah, sure, yeah. And in the back of my head, I thought when I said yes, in the back of my head, I thought, I think it's going to be like the coldest it's ever been in our entire lives in this window of time here. I hope he brings my snow pants back properly. And then I thought, I don't really need my snow pants that badly, and he might not even have them, so I'm staying home.
I didn't. Last night we washed them, and I forgot. So
all right,
I'm glad you didn't come in for that. I'm right now. I'm writing it in my phone to remember.
Because I had, look, do you have snow pants? Yeah. You know what I have? I have one pair like that. I have.
They're at my house.
And they're at your house. So I'm I was talking to Owen earlier. We're watching it snow. It's not snowing here now, but I think is it snowing by you right now?
A little bit.
Like in the studios?
I had a snowy drive-in.
Yeah, I thought it was snowing here all day, and then I think the radar looks like it went north, and then I think it's coming back through this way on its way south tonight. I mean, that's the way directions work. It's north now. It's going south. It's going to come through here. So I thought, like, wow, I'm going to have to go snow blow. I think it's finally we got enough snow to do that. I'm like, I guess I'll just I don't know, find some pajama bottoms or something to put underneath a pair of sweatpants.
Sorry.
No, I honestly, I was happy to loan the pants out. I will survive. I'll be outside for an hour. It'll be fine.
I saw on Facebook or Twitter or something, but Deion Dawkins was just kind of looking at the audience and just marveling on how the team is so behind them. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I just love these guys. This team with Josh, everybody else, I think they genuinely love our fans, the Mafia. It's not about a paycheck. It's about bringing that trophy home. And this seems to really ring true with this team. And I just thought it was such a cool sentiment. And I love those guys. I love the team. Deion, you're awesome, man. Win on three. 1, 2, 3, win.
All right, Ed. Thank you for the cheer.
Reminding everybody, each team is guaranteed an overtime possession. Do you want to kick for the tie or go for two? And I didn't put it in the form of a poll, which you would have done that. You would have liked that.
I like.
You love a poll.
It's been a while, but I love a good poll.
You love a poll. Both. I see both on here. One guy said, "Interesting 30 seconds." I'm like, my guy. That's I'm not new here. 30 seconds. It was meant to be interesting there.
Right. It's part of the reason that it would compel me to go for the two. Because if all I'm going to do is tie you and there's 30 seconds left, no.
I can stop you.
Yeah.
What if it's 13?
It's not so much that I can stop you. It's I'm worried about you scoring. So I've tied it, and you're going to go down and kick a field goal on me because it's Kansas City. Yeah, if it's 13, same. Like if it's the final play of the game, if there's zeros left, they score a touchdown and they get that is a little more tempting considering you both get the ball.
What's more tempting? Kicking?
Kicking, yeah.
Ooh.
Tying the game. I think if there's the more time left, the more I want to get the lead on you. I just had the more time. But 30 seconds isn't enough time for me to have you score and then get the ball back. Like that's insane. So I'm playing right there to keep from losing to you in regulation on a field goal.
You don't want 2 yards for the trophy? I think the less time is left, the more inclined I would be to go.
I think I would go no matter what.
Okay.
I'm just saying with the way you asked the question, my answer was as immediate as it was, because I feel like if all I do is tie you, I'm losing. If I get the lead, okay, maybe I still might lose with 30 seconds left, but at least I have the lead. Like I've done that. I'm not just praying that you don't get the field goal and playing for overtime. I'm trying to win. But I think I would go almost regardless.
Are we at a point in time with this league where if the Bills scored a touchdown on the final play and kicked it for the tie, you could miss the kick, but kick for the tie and lose the game, that McDermott would get heat for it? Are we so around the bend on 2-point stuff? Allen, like there was a guy last week tweeting at me about the Ravens going for 2 the first time they did, and like why they shouldn't have done that. They're down by 2 points in the second half. I'm like, what? If I have that quarterback and that running back, I am going for 2 on every touchdown. Like, of course I'm going. If I'm the Eagles, I am going for 2 on every touchdown, unless something about the math means that I should just be more careful.
I think we are far, to answer your question directly, yes, I think he's getting roasted.
Wow.
I think we are that far around the bend. I'd say it would be unanimous. There's plenty of take the points people, especially after the going for it doesn't work, right? Like, what are you doing? You had a chance to tie the game. Like, okay, sure. But I think the culture within the game has changed. Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell, Sean McDermott, other coaches who are forward-thinking in this area. Notice how I'm careful to make sure I mention McDermott in there because he's near the top of the list in this stuff year over year, and especially lately. I think we're far enough in that the majority, I'll stop short of saying the vast majority, but the majority of opinion, I think, would be, what are you doing? You've got Josh Allen on your team, and you had a chance to win the game, and you played for a tie. You played for overtime. What are you doing?
Couple of tweets just quickly. We'll bring Sal on. One saying, I'm nauseous just thinking about it. And I'm trying to find the other guy because I wanted to name the person, but I can't find it. He said, you go for it because the Bills have not won an overtime. There it is, Casey. The Bills have not won an overtime game in 84 years.
That sounds right.
The last overtime win is the snow game against the Colts. They've had a few losses. Sal Capaccio after the update here on WGR.
Former Bills center and NFL analyst Eric Wood.
Rousseau, Vaughn, like something. You're right. Like 3 sacks and a strip sack.
In Super Bowl MVP.
Allen, Cook, Rousseau, Vaughn, like something. You're right, like 3 sacks and a strip sack to go in with it, scoop and score or something, whatever. So I feel like Rousseau has that in him. I think we don't see it a lot, but he could have that game. Von Miller, I can't imagine having that game anymore. He's just not dangerous enough anymore to have that game. I don't think
Anybody with like 3 picks,
right.
Somebody could have a Rod Martin game.
Yeah.
He didn't even win. What did he have to do? 3 interceptions.
Who got MVP that year?
Plunkett.
Wow.
The quarterback is always the easy button.
Even with his face squished in there in the helmet like that, he still got the MVP?
Promise you.
A few new wrinkles today for the Bills' official injury report. Deion Dawkins goes from a non-participant to full. He was dealing with an illness. Taron Johnson joins Matt Milano and Christian Benford as limited. He's dealing with a neck and shoulder issue, while Taylor Rapp, for the second straight day, remains a non-participant with a hip injury. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Some other news for the Bills. They have 3 people who are finalists for end-of-season awards. Quarterback Josh Allen for MVP. Safety DeMar Hamlin for Comeback Player of the Year, and then Offense Coordinator Joe Brady for Assistant Coach of the Year. And we'll get more on the Bills when Sal Capaccio joins the show next. For the Sabres, they're in action tonight. They continue their Western road trip, taking on Calgary at 9, pregame starting right here on WGR at 8. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net. And then in college hoops, Niagara is hosting Marist, pregame starting at 6:10 for a 6:30 tip-off, and that's going to be over on AM 1400. And then a reminder, catch Sal Capaccio as he takes you behind the scenes on Bills Championship Game Day with his all-access Facebook Live from Kansas City on WGR's Facebook page. Presented by Corona Extra. Touchdown to the fine life with Corona Extra for the fans who never lose. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Kickoff 2025 in the new Chevy from Paddock. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Sal Capaccio.
Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio.
On WGR.
I hope Sal would agree he's joined us at a great time because we've got two questions bouncing around this room, and they're hot. One is...
That is exactly what they are.
One is the question about going for two with 30 seconds left down one. We'll definitely ask Sal that question. Get ready. The other is, have there actually been 50 billion baseball games played? That's the number? You said,
that was what I said, yeah.
Have 50 billion baseball games been played?
Yeah. You were asking about some statistical oddity that presented itself in a Stratomatic game you're playing. And did you think that's ever happened? And I immediately said no. And I went, wait a minute. I want that back. Yeah. How many games have there been? 50 billion?
50 billion.
I mean, there's about 5,000 a year.
I'll just say it. Do you think it's ever happened? Sal, please weigh in if you like. We'll keep this part of it short. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's ever happened that a pitcher walked 3 batters in a row in consecutive innings and didn't give up a run, and both times with less than 2 outs?
That is a statistical oddity. I would say yes. There's in baseball, there's so many things that can happen because there's so many games. And I think that if you count every baseball game at the Little League level and everywhere, there's got to be 50 billion all time. Yes.
I think maybe a safe position is everything has happened in
I think
baseball.
there's just been enough great pitchers throughout the history of the game that one of them, because a key element to this is like who's the pitcher that gets that kind of berth that the manager isn't coming out to get him. So your ace starts the game and does that, gets out of it. It happens again in the second, and, Vin Scully's in the booth going, I can't believe that. Sorry, I don't have a Vin Scully imitation ready.
That's fine.
Wow, he wriggled out of it again. Look at that.
You got to trust him.
Yeah. I mean, that's why this guy is so good. Now I've talked myself into, after my initial answer being, of course not, to, of course, yes, it's happened.
On a major league level?
Yes.
Okay. Sal, the other question. Let's imagine a situation on Sunday where the Bills score a touchdown with 30 seconds to go to get within one. I use 28-27. You can change that if you want, make it more interesting. And they have to decide whether to kick or go for two. Fans are having fun with it on, what is it, X?
Sure.
Saying
it's also in the chat on YouTube. I don't know, really. I haven't looked.
One person asked, how many timeouts does Kansas City have? Which I like. I'm trying to. What's the best?
It doesn't matter to me. I saw your question.
All right.
I have an answer.
Let's go.
I think it's easy for me. You're going for two. No, regardless, Kansas City's going to try to win the game with 30 seconds left.
That's
so
right.
Why you have one less possession? I don't care how many because you're guaranteed one each in overtime, but they're guaranteed one after that. So they're going for the win. Like it doesn't matter if it's tied or they're down. They're going to try to win the game with 30 seconds left. So I'd rather be up than not. I mean, because really my only other scenario there is I might go to overtime, but they're going to try and beat me. I have the lead, and you know what? Right now, honestly, like the way Josh Allen runs the ball, I'm going for two, and I'm putting him in shotgun, and I'm putting Reggie Gilliam on the field, and I'm putting Alec Anderson on the field, and I'm loading up the right side and literally just having him try to plow through. That's the play.
Do I care? Because we'll be talking. Bulldog and I will keep talking after Sal has left us today. Do I care how many timeouts the Bills have? Because if the Bills have three timeouts, all right. Just to say, like if they had their full complement of timeouts. And you go for two, maybe it's more reason to go for two. You don't make it, then you could kick it deep, although 30 seconds might not be enough time for that. But you could get the ball back. If you have fewer than three timeouts, you will not get the ball back.
I'm going for two. And I also want to add in, Tyler Bass has missed 5 extra points this year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said earlier, Sal, you could sooner convince 30 seconds is a very interesting, amount of time to me. If it were zeros and everybody's getting in overtime, I might listen to kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Because the key element of the 30 seconds is exactly like we just said. Like I'm going to lose. I lost to this team with 13 seconds left. I don't need to do that again. So regardless if they have any timeouts left or whatever, like the closer it is to the end, that's more compelling to like extend the game, and I'm going to get my possession and you're going to get yours, and we're just going to keep going. But with 30 seconds, I feel like if I kick it, I'm begging you to beat me.
Agreed. And I think the lower the amount of time, the more the kicking comes into play. The higher amount of time, the more the two-pointer comes into play.
Right. I think I would still want to go for the 2 anyway. I'm just saying it becomes more of a decision if there's not enough time for them to beat me after I tie it.
Sal.
Agreed. I think I'm still going for 2 on the road to try and become the AFC champion, though, with Josh Allen as my quarterback.
You and, to varying degrees, all of us here have made sure to mention Sean McDermott in this area, not end of game necessarily, but they're also winning a lot, has been pretty progressive when it comes to fourth down and stuff like this, where maybe his reputation is different. We've all taken our turns making that point. If it's not ridiculous or unfair to ask, do you think he's ready to go for 2 in that spot?
It's a good question. I don't know. Is he ready? I would say yes, but I don't know if that still is the decision. I think that, if he doesn't go for 2, people will call him a coward, but that doesn't mean that's right. It just means that that's like his numbers, his math, and his analytics department, everything they've thought about, they're not doing it. So I think he would be ready to. I don't think it's an automatic, we're going for 1 no matter what because he's not ready. I think it's a let's discuss this, what's best for this situation.
Okay. If I may ask one more thing here, do we care about the overtime rules? Do the overtime rules matter? In this, in that the playoffs, each team gets the ball for sure?
I guess it comes into play a little bit. Sure, you're not leaving it to a coin toss anymore, really. I mean, you still have an opportunity. Like what happened 3 years ago, you didn't have an opportunity after that. So I guess it does lean you a little more towards go to overtime. At least I'm getting my chance with my guy.
Does the Bills' track record in overtime? You have to go back to that snow game against the Colts. Mike just mentioned it at the end of last segment. Play any part in you wanting to avoid overtime?
It doesn't for me. I don't think there's I don't think I can quantify that like it has anything to do with the head coach or the quarterback or anything like that.
All right, have we exhausted this question, all angles from this one? I think maybe.
No, I have one for you.
Let's go.
Reverse it. Would you rather the Chiefs go for 2 or kick?
Oh, I would. That's the exact right question. Yeah. To answer the first question, this is the question you want to use, and I would love it if they kicked.
Okay.
I always want the other team to kick.
So
I'm suddenly so scared.
I always want the other team to kick. Every chance I get for them to kick, I'm in. I want it.
Suddenly it's like 9:30, and I'm in my living room, like sitting on my knees with my hands between my calves and my thighs, like, bouncing up and down like I'm 9 years old, hoping that the blackout rule isn't going to apply this time, and they're going to mistakenly flip the wrong switch, and the Bills game's going to be on.
Heidi.
That's how I feel right now. God, it just made me so tense.
Bulldogs are afraid of the reverse Heidi. You're going to start the game early. Take off the movie and put the game on. All right, enough. Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline.
Did I do a good job of painting the picture of how I'm sitting?
The hands between the calves and the thighs.
Calves and the thighs, and you're on your knees. Your feet are behind you, and you're bouncing.
I think so.
I don't think I can do that right now without my kneecaps shooting out of my legs like cannon fodder, but nonetheless.
I think so.
I did that a lot when I was a kid.
Sal, was today a good day or not when it came to injuries?
Ooh, I'd say more on the not side because Taron Johnson is also listed as limited. But I also want to couch that with, let's remember, yesterday was an estimation, and he was out there today. My sense is it's probably just kind of making sure. Yesterday you're like, yeah, he would have been a full participant if we practiced. And then you get out there, you're like, you know what? Let's just back off on him, make sure his shoulder's okay. So from that respect, also you didn't get Taylor Rapp back today. So I would say from that aspect, it's not a good day because you're trending more towards him not playing, whereas The other guys were still in the same place they were. I could argue good, though, because Matt Milano was back out there today again. Looked pretty good running around. I have some video out there. Christian Benford was out there today. He's wearing a Guardian cap. So, I don't want to say good or bad necessarily. I think you could look at it both ways.
Yeah, the Milano thing was definitely, to me, great news to see him moving around like that. And, maybe this, doesn't have to describe everyone, but minute wrap left on a cart, I just thought, well, he's probably not going to play next week. So, in my head, whatever his status is, I'm just like, yeah, I'm probably not going to have him. It's easy for, not that he doesn't have value, obviously. I mean, a huge play early in this game against the Ravens. But, I just haven't, in my head, I haven't been thinking he would be there, given how that looked. So, not like I've been hoping. I sure hope Taylor Rapp is better. I'm almost ruling him out in my head.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, he has not practiced for 2 straight days. We haven't seen him. It's not like we've seen him off to the side either. You know what I mean? So in that case, I generally think the guy's not playing because he's not out there. And he could be in the non-media viewing part of practice. As you guys know, we don't get to see it all. We watch a little bit and we leave. Maybe he comes out and he's standing around and getting the game plan and everything. But it is a concern for me because you get Patrick Mahomes and this great veteran quarterback, and you're gonna have a rookie probably next to DeMar Hamlin, and they're going to have to really be buttoned up on the back end to make sure they don't allow a Hollywood Brown or Xavier Worthy, big play behind them.
Sal, do you have, to those names, with those names in mind, after Kelsey, do you have one player on Kansas City on their offense, after Mahomes and Kelsey, that you think is of the most concern to the Bills? Is it Worthy? Is it Brown? Is it someone else?
I think you have to go Worthy because of how much they've used him lately. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting involved in the offense. To me, that's what it is. This could also be me in the fear bunker because of Xavier Worthy and Keon Coleman and the trade and all that, right? I mean, recognizing all of that, I think if you look at their team and what they've done here, they've really kind of amped him up, and they've really started to get a little bit going with him. They've intentionally been targeting him both in the pass game and on end arounds and things like that, end arounds and things like that. And I think that's the guy. I mean, I think DeAndre Hopkins could make a big play. Obviously, Hollywood Brown could make a big play. But I think just the volume of how they want to use Worthy as this gadget guy, plus he can go down the field, to me, that's probably, and plus how fast he is, obviously, you just kind of probably have to be aware of where he is.
Yeah, that was my choice, too. Like, I just don't, I know DeAndre Hopkins has been a great player in the league for a long time. Hollywood Brown has had his moments. But Worthy, to me, is the guy. Like, you just said it. I think I answered almost exactly the same way when Mike and I were talking about it earlier. The jet sweep stuff. And, there's been stuff closer to the line of scrimmage, too. It's not all just rainbows down the field to him. Mm-hmm. So they've sort of developed I guess a route tree that they're using for him. And, yeah, I think he is the next most dangerous guy as I go into this game. And I don't think any part of that is what you're saying, the fear bunker about he and Keon and the trade. I mean, I haven't really thought about it until today when we started talking like this. So that's not where my answer sprung from. I just think he's their next best player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I have a respect, though, for what Pacheco can do, but we talked about this earlier this week. It just hasn't really hit yet. And Kareem Hunt, he's an older player. And, I look back today, guys, that they have not had a running back since they went to – they go into overtime against Carolina, right, if I remember correctly?
Yes,
remember
they
that
did.
Game?
Yes.
They went to overtime. They have not had – that was the week after the Bills, by the way, the Bills game. They have not had a running back go over 60 yards since that game. Not one. They had a 60-yard running back against the Bills, but they do it by committee. But even then, it's just they haven't had one guy. The 68 yards is in that game. That was tops.
Not a overtime game, Carolina.
Not an overtime
game. But they won at the gun.
Oh, they did.
Carolina
sorry.
tied it late, and they won.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, right. That's twice today. I think I said that. You didn't correct me.
Yeah, but
it's
still the point about the running game. It's just such, I keep thinking this game is so different than last week. It really is. Like, you don't have this mesh point between, Mahomes and his running backs like you did with Lamar and Derrick Henry, and who's going to have the ball, and you better have a guy on Lamar. Now, I do think you need a spy on Mahomes, though, on passing downs, no doubt, because he can get out, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about loading up on the run game. Like, the Bills just focused on that last week. I don't think that's the case this week. I think this week we're going to trust that we can stop the run. There's going to be times where we have to load up a little bit more. We're going to trust we can stop it because this is a different animal. We have to be well more aware of their passing game, their intermediate, their tight ends especially. They hurt the Bills with tight ends. They have before. They did in the regular season game, even though they lost Noah Gray, 2 touchdowns, right? I mean, like, that's to me where the focus has to be this week.
If I may, on Worthy and Coleman, I haven't thought about it at all either. One of the things that's been really sort of noticeably enjoyable or smooth about this season is that we never ended up obsessing about Worthy or Stephon Diggs, right? Like, just the Bills had such a nice year. And Coleman did enough. How can I ask this, or should this wait? Like, how does it feel, this trade? I mean, the Bills are here, and I doubt anybody's sort of upset about it at this point. Worthy did play a bigger role in their offense than Coleman did, and, James Cook rushed for 16 touchdowns, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But Coleman on the year, the yards, he went for almost double the yards per catch than Worthy did. He was a big play guy. 29 catches, 4 touchdowns. Worthy ended up scoring 9 touchdowns for the Chiefs on 59 catches, 6 touchdowns, receiving 3 rushing. If it's not obnoxious to ask right now, like, how do you guys feel about where that stands, the decision to make that move?
I've always been okay with it. I never believed in you don't trade with the Kansas City Chiefs because they're Kansas City Chiefs. I think that's a bunch of junk because you do what's best for your team. The Bills clearly didn't value Xavier Worthy that much, so hey, whatever. I mean, whoever's going to get him is going to get him. If that's Kansas City, and then you traded because you wanted to move down to get your proper value. I will tell you, though, that I think that there are people just waiting in the weeds as usual to tell you, that it was terrible based on something that they see as a result of maybe Sunday. I still get it every once in a while. I think last week maybe or 2 weeks ago, whatever, Xavier Worthy scores a touchdown, and and of course I get that we hear it from fans. I see it like, oh, there you go, there's Xavier Worthy. Bills couldn't have done that. I mean, but that's of course those are the unsilent minority sometimes, right? I get it, but there are people waiting in the weeds to tell you that. I'm not going to be one of them. I think, in fact, I got the tweets kind of saved in the drafts. I'm ready. I mean, as soon as the Bills win, especially if Keon Coleman has a big game, I'm going to see, I guess I should have never traded with the Chiefs. Can't beat them if you trade with them.
I definitely was, this. I mean, I was terrified. I wouldn't even pick up the phone. If I knew it was Kansas City, nope. Nope, not talking to you. So I want to know part of it. That said, I have, gotten away from it. It's not something I'm focused on, but all things being equal, when I do think about Xavier Worthy and what his skill set is, the idea of a player like that in this Bills offense sort of gets my motor running. Like, I think that could be really hot.
Sal, how long have we had Assistant Coach of the Year awards?
I think it started a couple of years ago, maybe last year. It's been pretty recent. I don't know exactly. I mean, it might be farther back than I remember, but there has been Assistant Coach of the Year. There's also now the Pro Football Hall of Fame actually started making, not inducting assistant coaches, but they've been recognized. And actually this year, both Mouse McNally and Elijah Pitts are 2 of the, I think, 3 that were recognized for that.
All right. Joe Brady
lifetime achievement assistant coaches.
Joe Brady is up for the award. There's a recent report from Josina Anderson that Pete Carroll might be now the top candidate for the Raiders job, and that Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs' defensive coordinator, is also under consideration. There's a name that, here's Detroit, who lost both their guys kind of in a flash. By the way, did you see that the last Lions coordinator to get a head coaching job was Don Shula?
Oh, my God, no, I did not see that.
1963. He was the last Detroit coordinator to get a head coaching job the next year. Well, I mean, your thoughts here as it stands now, Sal, with Brady for this. And, Spagnuolo is somebody, I guess we had this with Eric Bieniemy, but Spagnuolo's been a head coach in the league before. Seems like a guy that might be deserving.
I've always wondered why Spags didn't get more consideration over the last few years and what he's done with that defense. A few years ago, the way they revamped it, they had to kind of win with defense a little bit after a couple historic years offensively. I think he deserves another, at least opportunity to maybe not to be the head coach, but at least to interview and have that chance because it just seems like that hasn't even happened. As far as Brady's concerned, I would think that a team this late in the process, looking for somebody to pair with Trevor Lawrence, would look at what Joe Brady's done and say, look what he's done with Josh Allen in only a year and a half. Look where the Bills are. No doubt. I do wonder if the Jags also, though, think, okay, Robert Saleh's out there. There's a couple others, that have some little guys that, been around a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit more of what they're looking for. I'm not sure. But it doesn't surprise me that Joe Brady, would be garnering interest there as well as in New Orleans.
New Orleans, right. There's a report that they want to talk to him next week, right? Whatever happens.
Yeah. And you can't talk this week, so it'd have to be after the game. And obviously, what happens on Sunday might matter. I mean, if the Bills lose, then you can hire him if you really want him,
right?
If he wants to do it. If not, then you're going to have to wait, and that could wind up, hurting his chances at a head coaching job.
All right, Sal, very good. We will talk tomorrow, of course. Fun week. Thank you.
You got it, guys. Have a great one.
All right. That's our dude, Sal Capaccio, on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Follow-up question on the question. Not the baseball question.
Okay.
Bills score a touchdown to cut the Chiefs' lead 28-27 with 30 seconds to go. Do you go for two? Well, let's give the Chiefs one timeout and the Bills 3. And lots of fun back and forth on that. Second question to that is, should we want this scenario? Would you take it? A chance with 30 seconds left to win it. You want to put it at the end of the game? We can put it at the end of the game. Either way, something like this. The late touchdown to get within one and to have this choice. Would you take it or roll the dice? You're loving me in the camera.
I couldn't hate it more. I would not take it.
No. You pass.
I think the Bills are the better team in this matchup. And I don't want to. This feels like, would I take a do or die, death or glory scenario at the end of a game? Feels like I'm coming in with an underdog mentality. And I know they're not the betting favorite, but I think they are September to now, they're the better team. And if I'm the better team, I'm not signing up for a do or die scenario at the end. I like my idea of them winning by 2 scores. Too much to just settle for that. So I would not sign for that.
Love it. 803-0550. How about you? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
We know you can't hear.
it's a different team, so there's guys here that don't have that emotional connection to it. And everybody wants to bring us to our past, which is kind of scary and kind of sad because, like, we lost in the past. Nobody wants to be pulled into a loss when we got beautiful things ahead of us. So we kind of want to be where we're at and be up when we're up.
Deion Dawkins, 803-0550, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We are visible again today, YouTube, Twitch. I'm loving the camera. The camera's my friend today.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah,
because you keep going like this at it and like
I'm
this
loving
at it.
Loving gesturing.
All right.
Oh, the Chiefs are the third team. What?
Remember late in the show yesterday when I did the Plunkett thing?
Yeah, I love that.
Right. Imagine going home and your spouse asking you like how your day went. And your spouse has like a real serious job, like life and death serious job, which my wife does. She's a nurse practitioner in an ICU. Like it's a serious hardcore job. And she asks you how your day went and you reenact that entire thing for her. Like this is how my day went. I'm very happy about this because I did this.
The Plunkett?
Yeah.
I did that.
And then she just sort of sits there and looks and smiles because she loves you. And like my thought bubble went, oh my God.
It's so embarrassing.
I'm such a loser.
I had that happen to me earlier this week because I had that conversation when I got home and I was happy about the day because of the gumbo pants.
Right.
I thought gumbo pants was funny. I had gumbo pants. Right. If you miss anything, go to the Odyssey app and you can catch up.
Oh, yeah. And really, yesterday's show is on YouTube if you want to find it was about 6:30. No, well, I don't remember what time it was now. 6:20, I want to say. Plunkett.
I didn't bring the helmet.
It was late in the show. But I'm not going to do it again for you now. I'm not your toy.
So these shows are just going to sit there now.
I think so, yeah.
Great.
And eventually,
I love that.
I think the idea is that they're going to be cutting up clips of them and putting, like, as the show's going on. Like, there's a lot. I mean, no pressure, G. But, yeah, I think that's the idea is there's going to be more and more content. They're creating content, Mike, these people.
So,
us.
We are doing
our video content producers. That's what these jobs are called.
I'm well accustomed to this now.
Sure, yeah.
These podcasts.
You are a video content producer yourself.
I am. Much like Guy Fieri, who we talked about yesterday.
Sure, very much the same. Yeah. Me, not really.
It'll be fun to go to New Orleans and mingle with fellow content producers.
Yes, it will.
Like Guy Fieri, perhaps. JJ is with us. Hello, JJ.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good. We're just looking to you to help us create some more content, JJ. No pressure.
Shot. So this hypothetical scenario, I thought was pretty enjoyable thinking about what we do with that extra point decision. And obviously, you guys brought up the extra parameters, who's got what timeouts, et cetera, et cetera. And then a pit hit my stomach, that kind of a feeling when I sat back and thought about yet another parameter, and that is, and let's get this on the table right now for everybody to talk about, for the love of God, what are we doing with that kick off after we get the 2 points? Oh, no. That's what I want to know.
You really are producing content.
In the end zone, or are we laying it up?
You really are producing content. You're asking the question.
This is a very, very different situation given the rules.
Exactly.
Like the landing zone and all that, and the penalty for missing the landing zone is the 40. And, yeah. I mean, ideally, I'm kicking it. I think it's harder to yell about keep it in play and let them run clock off. I think it's harder to do that.
Right.
It's not impossible, but I just feel like I'm messing a little bit with it. It shouldn't be that hard to get in the landing zone, though.
For most of this, to me, and you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong, to me, most of the year has been teams not bothering. Just kick it through the end zone.
Right.
But I think more and more I'm seeing, even last weekend, I'm seeing kicks put in the corner. Who was it that was doing that well? There was one game where wow, this guy's just putting it in the corner every time. I forget. Maybe it was the Bills game. I'm not sure. But I think now maybe kickers with more reps. Maybe it's more important. Man, I don't know yet. I don't have this answer.
I would corner specifically, like even as hot and heavy and as exhaustively as we talked about 13 seconds, I would have never advocated for try to kick it to a corner there, because the downside is out of bounds 40-yard line, and I'd say the same thing now even with the new rules. I just don't want any part of the sideline on this kick. I need to keep it between the hashes to be safe. So there is still a scenario where you should be able to hit the landing zone and force them to return it and hopefully contain them. Don't give them the 30. If they get to the 30, fine. The idea is make them run 6 seconds off the clock. That's what matters.
Man, can you imagine if this game comes down to that? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
JJ, good stuff. Eric is next. Hi, Eric.
If they get to the 30, fine. The idea is...
It's been a while since I've had that happen.
That's us.
Yeah.
That was us.
Yeah.
Couple of things on the Chiefs. What, historically we have here. This is, according to Pro Football Network, the 5th time in the Super Bowl era that two teams have met 4 times in 5 playoffs, a span of 5 playoffs. Green Bay, San Francisco, which we found out yesterday is the record holder for most playoff meetings.
9 was that?
9 times. You have to, when you say 9 times, you have to say it in Ed Rooney. 9 times. Sorry, I wish I hadn't, but I thought of it. Met 4 years in a row, 95 to 98. Green Bay won 3 of the 4. T.O. would be the one they didn't win, like last play, so they almost won all 4. The L.A. Rams and Dallas met 5 times in 6 years, back when Bulldog was a Dallas fan, between 1975 and 1980. And Dallas won 3 of those 5 games. One that they lost was Staubach's final game, where his last pass was to a lineman, Herbert Scott. That was the end of his career. The Rams beat him.
And that's Vince Ferragamo?
Vince Ferragamo, 79.
For the Rams, okay.
The third, this is the Bills and Chiefs are the 5th example. The third on the list is Vikings-Rams, 74 to 78. Bud Grant.
All right.
Chuck Knox.
Sure, yep.
They met, just like Bills and Chiefs, 4 times in 5 seasons. Minnesota won 3 of the 4. The Steelers and the Raiders met 5 years in a row in the playoffs, 72 to 76.
That's Immaculate Reception and then on up. Okay.
That would be the Immaculate Reception was the first of those 5. The last 3 were all AFC Championship games. And Pittsburgh won 3 of the 4 meetings. So, Immaculate Reception, 74, 75. Then Oakland won in 76. And now this. And so you just heard, no team has ever swept.
Okay, so it's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Also, the Chiefs are the 3rd team going for a 3rd straight championship to get this close. The Steelers, who I just mentioned, are one of the teams that lost to Oakland in 76. Do you remember that game? Would you watch that game?
I would have watched it, but I can't pick anything out of a lineup.
Pittsburgh was, I just know this, not from having watched it, Pittsburgh was just completely beaten up with injuries that year. They were going for a 3rd in a row, and they were kind of on fumes. They get to the championship game. It's in Oakland, but they lose 24 to 7. The other is Leonard Marshall.
Oh, all right. On Montana.
Right. The Niners are going for 3 in a row. The Bills are waiting for the winner of Giants 49ers. Leonard Marshall knocks Montana out of the game, the Matt Barr field goal, and the Giants win. So that's the last time a team has been as close as Kansas City to winning 3 in a row. No team has done it.
I'm telling you, there's no reason really for this. Just you say the name Leonard Marshall, and I start thinking about that play, and I can see that play, and it makes my back hurt.
Interesting.
It's one of the most violent from behind quarterback, defensive lineman hits I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. Hey, I have to, sorry to jump back in, but there is one more. That's even more recent. That is Dallas, San Francisco. After Dallas had beaten the Bills twice, and for the 3rd year in a row, they played the Niners in the NFC Championship.
But the Niners
and this
got
time
him.
they lost.
And then Ricky Waters. Yeah.
Ricky Waters.
In that Super Bowl. 5 touchdowns? Is that it?
No, Young threw for 6
Okay.
in the game, and Waters was part of that. So that's the last time, not 1990. 94 season is the last time where a team was going for a three-peat and made it to the championship round and lost. So nobody's made it to 3 straight Super Bowls having won the first 2.
Is that what we just
That's what we've got.
figured out there? Yeah. All right. Cinch.
Now you know. Now you're even more confident.
This has done a very good job of overcoming the sheer terror of the conversation about the kickoff after the Bills take the lead with 30 seconds left and the whole 2-point, all that. I got pretty close to feeling like I might throw up during that. It was starting to churn. So this has been good. See, I'm going. Don't go back. Don't look back.
Look at the camera, but don't look back.
Don't look back.
The Sabres play tonight in Calgary. Our pregame coverage starts at 8. It's a 9 o'clock game. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR.
More of
Open the Bulldog, welcome back. Let's go to Peter next. Hi, Peter.
Hey, guys. Calling from D.C.
Love D.C.
Yeah. All I can hear about is the Commanders and how they want a rematch of the Bills and Redskins Super Bowl in '91, and I'm getting a little tired of that. But I just wanted to kind of put this out there. I've been hearing a lot about, hey, this could be a really close game, could come down to, a field goal or 2-point conversion. But I just want to put this out there, and I'm very superstitious, but I'm putting my focus here. The 1993 AFC Championship game. I'm going to watch this game over and over until Sunday, just to put the vibe out there. What if this is a blowout? What if this game was what we want it to be and not stressful, and that we can, just hang back in the late third quarter and just that's it. It's over. And that's what I want. And I'm just going to put it out there. I just want the football guys to hear me. So there it is.
All right, I like it. I've said a few times today, my first thought about this game was similar to that. I woke up Monday morning and thought, they're going to kill this team. And, I want to back off of kill this team. But I've said it this way. I think my second most likely game that's in my head, other than a shootout between Mahomes and Allen, reminiscent of the 21 playoffs, is a pretty comfortable Bills win. 30-18, 30 to whatever. Just they're better. Kansas City has had a tough year on offense, almost start to finish. So they've got some guys back. The Bills have got some guys back, and we can do that whole dance and move the chess pieces all around the board. I think, it's hard to get there because you should have such a hearty and healthy respect for the Chiefs, which I think I do. They've been excellent. And that's why it's my second most likely scenario. My most likely one is that it's a shootout because Mahomes will find a way. Whoever he's throwing the ball to, he'll find a way. You talk about everybody eats over here. I mean, the Chiefs will get by. But right behind that is a pretty comfortable, undeniable, this is their time, they're the better team, welcome to the Super Bowl Josh Allen kind of game.
That's a 14-point win at the most.
Sure.
I think. I feel this, but it's so, all the things. It's so their time, all these things. I cannot imagine Kansas City getting blown out at home. They're too, they just don't make mistakes. The Bills don't either. The Ravens do, and it cost them the game. I don't see the Bills wreaking havoc toward Mahomes and forcing them into turnovers. Anybody can fumble, but it just doesn't seem like that. The Chiefs don't seem like that team. I think they could punt a few times and not score. I mean, they've been that this year.
Yeah.
But I don't think I win a game like that by 40 points. I think I win a game like that by 14 points.
All right. That works.
You'll take that?
Yeah, that's why I backed off of they're going to kill this team to it's a comfortable 2-score win. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Chiefs are not that team. And no team that's been as excellent as they have been are that team until they are. And then all the postscripts are written about, they've played more football than any team of human beings ever have played over the course of the last 3 years. I mean, all these runs, they didn't even have the bye last year, so they had to play the extra. They ran out of gas. It happens. They should be tapped out.
I love that. They have had kind of some time off here recently.
They have.
That they earned.
I think they could still be tired from last November, though.
Yes. Well, if they lose, we will hear that.
Yes, absolutely.
And even from them.
Mm-hmm.
David is next. Hi, David.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Great.
I don't know why something feels different this year. The Chiefs have been scraping by all season. It's a hot take, but I feel like we're going to beat the brakes off this team, honestly.
I love it. Yeah.
David with Peter on that.
I'm totally beat the brakes off him. I love that. Go ahead.
Largest championship round road win. Colts Browns in 68, 34-0. That's the biggest margin of victory for a road team in the Super Bowl era in the championship round. The Bills rank fairly high on this list with that win in Miami we talked about yesterday. after the 92 season, winning by 19 points. That comes in sixth here. I've got a list of 39 road teams to win in the championship round, Super Bowl era. And the Bills are on that list. So are the Chiefs last year in Baltimore by 7. Some are debating whether fans would take a 7-point win. 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on YouTube, WGR Live Facebook. You can search that and find us that way, or Twitch if you'd rather go that route. Back after the update here on WGR.
Seneca Gaming Interview keeps the
Pointed that you didn't come in today because I am like covered in gumbo. Oh, well, it's not covered. Let's say splattered.
Yeah,
I've got like gumbo on me. I thought here's the story. So last night the word gets out, no school. My son doesn't have school. My daughter's like, great.
I love the word gets out.
Word gets out. Like
it was on the streets.
Everybody finds out.
Hey, kid, come here. You got no school tomorrow.
We never find out before the kids do. Like, they're so plugged, they're glued to their phones. Like, a classmate tells them, or they get the notification from school, whatever it is. So, my son goes to school in Buffalo.
Do their phones beep aggressively with those notifications?
I don't know.
Or is that just county stuff during football games?
I think they beep aggressively when they hear. So, he goes to school in the city. He finds out no school. My daughter's usually, her reaction is great, lucky him. But then that happens. She's at school on the island, that's canceled too. And so we have these few minutes where like, oh, great. I'll be home in the morning. Mama's working, but, you know, I'll make you a deal because today's my shopping day, right? Mm-hmm. I said, I'll make you a deal. Why don't, instead of, not every day, but usually like I'll offer the kids a fried egg, you know, bacon before they get on the bus before 7 a.m. How about tomorrow, since you don't have to, meaning today, since you don't have to go in, you can cook for us. And it doesn't have to be at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not going to get up at 6:30 in the morning just to eat an egg. So win-win. Let's say 10. Everybody wins. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, reasonable time.
10 o'clock this morning. I'll see you both right here. You know, maybe you'll have a plate at a fork and a knife out, salt, pepper, Tabasco sauce, what I like. Maybe not. I'm willing to do that, but this time, no school for you, work for us. You know, why don't you make some eggs? And they both go, love it. 10 o'clock.
All
I mean,
right.
that's a good sleep.
It's a date. Yeah, all right.
It's a date.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I slept in because I didn't have to get up to cook for them or do like a real job.
The bus or whatever. Yeah.
Nothing.
Right. Okay.
Right? So I'm just sort of lazy start, but I know 10 o'clock eggs and then off to the store. And my end of the deal was, you guys do that, which we've already decided, I'll make gumbo. Right? So,
wow. I would have made you some eggs for some gumbo. I'll tell you that. I love gumbo.
10 o'clock, my first attempt. 10 o'clock seemed like a good time because that would give me time to shop and cook, and they didn't have to feel like, oh, it's so early. It's 10. Double digits. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm well in position for my role in this by 10. Nobody's up. You know, the dog, it's too cold for the dog. So she's kind of in her pen because she won't go outside, and my wife's sequestered in her office. Nothing. 10:05.
Oh boy.
Like 10:05, that's it. So I leave. I go to the store, and I'm so slow. The gumbo isn't even done yet. But it was like kind of stressful, and at one point the pot was so full that I just sort of am stirring it, and I'm starting to see it's getting late, and I just sort of, even the whisking, sort of, you flick the flour and the sauce and everything.
Sure, that can
I'm
be
wearing
a sloppy.
it.
Yeah, making the roux can be arduous.
I'm wearing it.
To a full participant today. He was dealing with an illness. Taron Johnson joins Matt Milano and Christian Benford as limited. He's dealing with a neck and shoulder issue, while Taylor Rapp remains a non-participant with a hip injury for a second straight day. For more on this, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. And a reminder, the Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. The Bills were also in the news for having 3 finalists to end-of-season awards: quarterback Josh Allen for MVP, safety DeMar Hamlin for Comeback Player of the Year, and offensive coordinator Joe Brady for Assistant Coach of the Year. To the rest of the NFL, after just one day from firing general manager Trent Baalke, Bucs offensive coordinator Liam Cohen is meeting with the Jaguars about their head coach opening. This comes after yesterday Cohen reportedly backed out of the running and was going to stay with Tampa, and a reported deal would have made him the highest paid assistant in the sport. Nothing definitive on if Cohen now is the front runner to be the Jaguars' next head coach. To the Sabres, they're in action tonight. They continue their Western road trip, taking on Calgary at 9. Pregame starting here on WGR at 8. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen expected to get the start in net. And then in college hoops, Niagara hosting Marist with pregame starting just about 10 minutes at 6:10 for a 6:30 tip-off. And that'll be over on AM 1400. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Kickoff 2025 of the new Chevy from Paddock. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I think the modern parlance for the state of things for Trent Baalke, the now former GM of the Jaguars, is down bad. I think you would call that down bad.
Yeah.
We're keeping you. They go hire or try to hire a new coach. They interview candidates. The guy they want doesn't want to go there, seemingly because he's there. Then they fire him. And now the same candidate is, according to Adam Schefter, probably going to be their coach. You don't do this otherwise. He's the guy they wanted. The GM is now out of the picture, and after withdrawing from the job search, now you're right back in front of the line.
And wasn't there something along the lines of a record-setting coordinator contract to keep him in Tampa?
Yeah, maybe.
I think that was a part of this. He's not going. They've made him one of the highest paid or the highest, whatever. It's one of those deals. I don't know how vague the wording was or specific, but that phrasing was used about the Liam Cohen story staying in Tampa. So turns his back on that to go to Jacksonville because, Trent Baalke's got to be feeling like subterranean at this point. Like nobody good wanted to go there at all. But, you're our guy. Nope. That's tough.
That is tough.
I don't know. Sounds like that he's earned it, though. Right or wrong, like he's got a horrible rep.
Well, I don't know. Like, just fire me then.
Right.
That doesn't look as bad as this.
No, this is way worse. That's right.
What did the guy? What did he say?
Fire him when you fire Doug Peterson. You're like, we're starting over. Clear the decks.
Doug Peterson's walking around. He's got a Super Bowl ring. Nobody wants him. Remember Nick Bakay talking about Diggs? He was on with us a couple times ago. Like, what was his line? What don't we know?
Oh, right.
About Diggs and Allen? Like, what don't we know?
Right.
I get home and I see Margot the pug, like, in her pen, which means there's some reason why she's not out roaming the house.
What happened? Right.
And I always go up to her and say the same things. Margot, what did you say? She says nothing.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell me. Linda is next. Hi, Linda.
Hi there. How are you doing?
We're doing great, Linda. Thanks for calling. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. So I have both a question and a comment, or a comment first, and I wanted to know what you thought the implications might be for the game this weekend. So I look back, and over the season, the Bills have scored more than 30 points in about three-quarters of their games, and the rest of the games have been in the 20s. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have had a high score of 30 points in exactly 2 games this season, and the rest of the games they've been in the teens or the 20s. What do you think of that and the implications for the playoff game this weekend? Thanks.
It's a big part of the reason why I have arrived at my second most favorable, my second most likely outcome being a comfortable Bills win. They've been the better team all year, and their offense has been the better offense all year. I think KC's reputation and the numbers, I think, back it up. Their defense maybe is ahead of the Bills, but it's close. I'd say it's closer than the Bills' offense versus the KC offense for this year. Anyway, it's why I don't think it's crazy at all to think that this game could be, a comfortable Bills win. I think the Chiefs have been getting by on a lot of good fortune, experience, and ability to win close games, all that, and a lot of luck. And I don't know, it's someday that runs out. And I just feel like this Sunday could be that day for the Bills and the Chiefs. Like, the Bills just undeniable. There they are. They're the best team in the conference.
And I'm not that optimistic. I'm optimistic, but I'm not that optimistic because the Bills have had their luck too. The takeaway thing is insane. It's unprecedented for a team to go 19 games without losing turnovers once. And there's a reason why the Chiefs are favored, right? I mean, the whole thing about 30 points and all that. And they've lost to the Bills this year. They're still favored to win the game because they're not a team that you think of as one that would crack. A lot of that is built off bad teams. And the Bills, fully to their credit, have A, taken advantage of that this year, like in the Baltimore game, and B, not been guilty of it themselves. I just can't see the Chiefs being sloppy. Anybody can turn the ball over a couple times, and maybe we get that. And if the Bills are +2 in the game, they'll probably win. If the Chiefs are +2 in the game, they'll probably win. And that's just really hard to know. So it makes sense to me that there is this, not just locally, that there is this vibe that the Bills are better here. Mm-hmm. And some of that is almost ironic because they've lost this game to them several times.
3 times in a row, right?
But there's a feeling that maybe they're due to win it. And I can get with that. But I don't look at the two teams' seasons myself and think like, oh, obviously Buffalo. I mean, the Chiefs have had their story, if you will, is the close wins. They've won all the close games. And the Bills' story is they win the takeaways every week. And they have parlayed that. Well, both teams have done whatever they've done with that to get to this point.
Yeah. There is, within all this, the turnover thing specifically, there is, I often think like this, like what does it sound like during the game? Again, I'm not going to do a Jim Nantz impersonation for you, but there's a certain inflection I can hear from him after the Bills commit their second turnover of the game. Right? Like all year, so good with the ball, and here we are when it matters the most. Like something like that. No. Sorry. I had to say it to purge it, okay? It's out now. There, it's done. It's over. Goodbye.
Does anybody do Nance? Have you ever heard of a Jim Nance impersonator?
Caliendo probably does them. He does all those people.
He's maybe hard to do.
Yeah. I definitely don't even want to try.
Like, I've heard probably a few Al Michaels impersonators, maybe including Frank Caliendo. Where is he? What happened to that guy? He was on our show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did it all go downhill for them after he joined us?
Yes.
Frank Caliendo?
That was the end.
What happened to that guy?
He's been downhill.
I miss him.
Yeah.
Madden died.
Yeah.
John Gruden got sort of ostracized.
Right.
But still, like, there should be a place for Frank Caliendo.
Yeah,
Everybody's got 7 panelists.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's interesting. I don't watch those shows, but I just haven't heard. I don't see him. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where he went.
I'd like him in a booth with someone he sounds like to see if you know if it's him or Troy Aikman, right? Like, wouldn't you enjoy that? I would enjoy that. Maybe Aikman wouldn't. Brendan is next. Hi, Brendan.
Hey, what's going on, guys? For one, I wanted to get off my chest that, I'm a 26-year-old. I've had season tickets my entire life, and this is the most excited I've ever been for a single game ever. And then the other thing is, I think if Josh Allen were to finish this off and, win the Super Bowl for us, I think it would be the single most impressive season in NFL history.
Ooh, wow. What would it beat? What's the score to beat?
What's that?
What's the score to beat?
That's a tough question. I'm just saying, with the surrounding cast, like Mac Hollins basically being the number 2 receiver for this team.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure I wouldn't agree with that. I'm not sure I wouldn't, but I don't have a name. I don't have an answer yet. Like, who are we topping? Who has authored the most incredible? What we're talking about quarterbacks to win a championship? Like, who is the best ever at winning despite surrounding talent or whatever that is?
I mean, sure, New England had their share of Randy Moss seasons, a couple of them, but go back and look at some of those years. Just there's some years there where it's guys that just you can't really okay that happened. I don't know. He didn't always have an arsenal of dudes in New England, so I don't know. I mean, I don't. Allen will have done a great job. It's sort of like it's really the MVP conversation. It's more that point to me. Like, if you think it's been that impressive, then he should be the MVP. I'm inclined to agree, but I don't know. In all time, I can't really wrap my head around it without really looking at a lot.
How about Greasy winning back-to-back with glasses?
And that silly little face mask he had, too.
I mean, give him his props.
Yeah.
Chadley is next. Hello.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Real good, thanks.
Colin from Arkansas. I've got a comment and a question. My comment is it's great that Odyssey has WGR 550 because I feel like a Buffalonian. I've been a fan for almost 40 years, so it's great to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Cool. Heading to the game this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. Taking my dad.
Very good.
My question is, so at safety, depth at safety, we don't know if Rapp's going to play or not, and if he doesn't play, Cole Bishop, is going to be playing. And I know, the safeties back there are kind of prone to injuries, and this is going to be a physical game, just not out of hate. I don't think it's a hatred game like Steelers versus Ravens, but it's a physical game because I think both teams recognize the greatness in each other, and they just want to beat each other. So it's going to be a physical game. What is the depth like? Let's say Cole's playing and Hamlin, and they get banged up. Who would come in then? I know Micah Hyde thing is. I think if Micah was going to play, I don't think he was brought here to play.
That's over. Yeah, he's not playing. At least not now. I mean, I don't know if it changes in 2 more weeks if they make it. But Cam Lewis is the next safety up, and he's fine and healthy. And if Rapp can't go, then I think we're at Kareem Jackson's been at practice squad elevation. Like that's would be to me the most likely next guy.
Tough spot.
That would be dressed. Again, you don't have to count on him unless one of those other dudes gets hurt.
Right.
I'm excited about Bishop. I mean, I know, be careful what you wish for. And Rapp has had a nice year. Rapp, I was so scared of Rapp as a starter. I just thought his tendency to go for the big hit was just going to be a personal foul targeting a defenseless receiver factory. And I don't know if he's even taken one of those penalties all year long. So good on him, and he's made some good plays. So I'm not here to tell you that they possibly won't miss him, but I've loved Bishop since his name was called on draft day. So I'm excited for him, but Jackson is the name you want, I think. That's the next guy up.
Been to Arkansas? Thanks, Chadley.
I have never been to Arkansas.
I have not. From Little Rock, which is the capital, right in the middle of the state, pretty much. It's a 6-hour drive.
To KC?
Yeah. I came close to doing that this week. We both got an offer to go. And I got excited about it. 15 hours. 15 hours for us.
Yeah.
Because I was not even going to look at flights. It's just too close.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a drive. You and I talked about it. I came a little bit close.
Yeah.
But
I ruled it out immediately. There are a variety of reasons for that. I've stuff Monday morning that I don't want to get out of that I need to do, and that was the big reason right away. But the rest of it for me is like, what are we not working? If we're not working, then maybe I'll talk to you. But like I was telling my wife about this. So it's so funny. Your wife and me have a lot of things, I think, like philosophically in common, and you and my wife are the same. I told her about all this, and, she's like, what's your problem? Why don't you want to go? I'm like, the idea of driving to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And, great seats, good seats, whatever, going to the game, but knowing we have to, whatever is happening, we're sort of on our own. We're out there, and we got to find a place to do the show from after the game would absolutely annihilate any possibility of me enjoying 1 second of that trip. There's just no way I could look past it. The whole thing would be what's going to happen at the 2-minute warning. I'm going to be able to watch it because we got to leave to go to some RV or something to do our show. Is the equipment going to work? All this different stuff. And it's like, no. Thank you. Generous offer. I appreciate it. No. Not for me. And she's like, I'm with Mike. She's like, I'm like, well, you go then. I don't know.
Yeah, you go.
I don't need to go.
Let's go to John next. Hi, John.
Hey, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Denver and Baltimore had the best defense in the last maybe 5 weeks of the season, or at least the half of the season, and we just went through them. And I don't think Kansas City's defense compares anything to the two we just faced, which seems to tell me that we should do quite well offensively against this defense. What are your thoughts? Thanks.
Well, sure. I don't think it's as stern a test as Baltimore, especially. Like Denver, I don't know. I mean, they put up their numbers. Credit to them. I was never worried about the Bills being able to do what they wanted eventually, and they got there and blew them out. Kansas City it's more like, I don't know. To me, I don't think about the data, the stats as much as I just think about it's 3rd and 8, and what is Spagnuolo going to do? And what is Chris Jones going to do? Where's he lining up? And whose ass is he going to try to kick? And can I prevent that? The Bills' tackles this year have been excellent. I mean, you watch the Ram playoff games, Jared Verse is like a weapon. Did you even see him one time in the game the Bills played against them? A crazy shootout where both quarterbacks were just throwing the ball all over the field. It was like Verse wasn't even in the game. The Bills just swallowed him. So Chris Jones is a different cat. He's huge, powerful,
Karlaftis, too.
Yeah, off the edge.
8 sacks.
That's a guy to me, I don't know, man. Notify me when he makes a play in this game. I think whoever's on him will own him.
He made plays against Houston, I know.
Yep.
One thing about last week that I had in my mind a lot was I think playing the Ravens in Buffalo was a big advantage. And, you'd say going there is a big disadvantage. I mean, notice this. You made this point. They didn't, offensively, they didn't do what they do. Like, they didn't run any of that ball fake stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was cold and snowy, and it's loud, and it made sense to me that team would adjust, which you don't want to have to do. Like, that's your bread and butter. So they still moved the ball great pretty much all night anyway. I like that for the Chiefs here, at home, loud, and just sort of, it's easier to be disruptive at home than on the road. So Jones, Karlaftis, McDuffie is really good. The Bills and Allen know these guys so well. Like, they've seen all their best shots and vice versa. But I tend to feel like the home team has a pretty good edge when, no pun intended, when you're talking about timing and home field. So is it less of a challenge? This is the caller's question, is it less of a challenge? How does it compare with the Ravens? I think it's really close. I mean, their defense was fine. You like that? Fine? Their defense was fine this year. Yeah. And made plays. They were top 10 in yards. They were top 10 in points. Shouldn't be easy. Thanks, John. Andrew Filipponi tweeting that he's predicting, for what it's worth, Justin Fields will be the QB1 in Pittsburgh next year. The offseason can wait. There's so much fun stuff right now out there.
There was a story today where Russell Wilson was quoted about them starting to talk about a contract extension in Pittsburgh. So that's interesting. That
he seems to talk about himself like he's in a maybe better place than he might be. Yeah. Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday he had a quote wanting to retire in Pittsburgh, and somebody tweeted, "Go ahead and do it."
Right now.
How's right now for you?
Never a better time than right now. Yep.
There's so many quarterbacks.
Why put off what you can do today till tomorrow?
Right. There's a half dozen quarterbacks right now in the league where I think it's kind of a close call whether they're week one starters. And it's both of those guys. Fields, I think, is less likely to be a week one starter than Russell Wilson.
Blow my mind if somebody made him their starter. Wilson, like I saw that story, and like I don't know the agent or it's Wilson, like whatever, being delusional, but I went, go for it. Let's go. Lock up Russell Wilson for 5 years at $40 million a year plus. Go ahead. Awesome. I couldn't ask for you. Go ahead and eliminate yourself. Thank you, Pittsburgh.
That's what we said about them signing him for 1 year for $1 million.
Right.
Sorry, but it's very harsh. Jameis is one. Is he a week one starter?
No way.
No way. He didn't do well enough?
No.
Okay. Still a turnover machine?
Yes.
Will Levis? No.
I don't think so.
Aaron Rodgers?
No way. It's over.
I don't think so.
Really?
He starts week one somewhere.
Forget it.
Put it on the board.
$1 billion.
I have to check with my manager.
It's a little rich.
I would not put $1 billion on it.
Who is going to take that on?
You look, when it's time, go through the teams and ask yourself who's starting for them. Who's starting for Cleveland? Who's starting? I mean, their coach is still there. They'll want to win. Who's starting for Pittsburgh? Who's starting for Tennessee? It's not going to be rookies. The rookies stink. Is it going to be... Sam Darnold will start for somebody.
Rodgers stinks.
Rodgers will start for somebody.
No way.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Speaking of betting, Joe Ostrowski from BetQL Daily joined us on the game Sunday, plus the NFC Championship. We had some fun with Joe, as we always do. That's next. The Sabres play in Calgary tonight with pregame at 8. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Never miss a second of Sabres Live. Rewind up to 20.
and he said, "Oh, I saw on Facebook or Twitter or something, but Dion Dawkins was just kind of looking at the audience and just marveling on how the team is so behind them." And he said, "Oh my gosh, I just love these guys. I think this team, with Josh, everybody else, I think they genuinely love our fans, the Mafia. It's not about a paycheck. It's about bringing that trophy home." And this seems to really ring true with this team. And I just thought it was such a cool sentiment. And I love those guys. I love the team. Dion, you're awesome, man. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win.
All right, Ed. Thank you for the cheer.
Wife made out a shop yesterday as you went to the store.
Okay, sure.
And it said bananas -2. What would you think that meant?
To buy 2 bananas. That she needs 2 bananas for some recipe.
Yeah, she's right again. But they're so I just can't give the speech again. The aluminum foil costs more than bananas. They're so cheap. Like, I bought 2 bunches, not big, small, but like 8 bananas in total. Because you don't want to just be short on bananas. They're so cheap.
Sure, it
cost me $1.14.
I would never buy 2 bananas.
Two bananas.
It's
how do you even write that?
It's
Alex.
It's not. You always miss the point, Alex. I'm sorry to bore you with this, and the entire audience.
He's not bored.
I want the bananas to be optimally ripe. I don't want brown, spotty, mushy, crappy bananas. Right. So, thank you, Alex. So,
wait a minute.
Like, preserving them with the foil keeps them greener longer.
Foil.
So that's it. I'm just preserving them so that, like, on Wednesday, if I buy them on Sunday, by Wednesday, and I'm making my protein shake in the morning, they're still good, and they're going to believe me, the shake tastes vastly different with a very yellow, mushy banana than it does with a greener, like, barely ripe banana.
Come on. Super Bowl MVP.
Allen, Cook, Rousseau, Vaughn, like something. You're right, like 3 sacks and a strip sack to go in with it, scoop and score or something, whatever. So I feel like Rousseau has that in him. I think we don't see it a lot, but he could have that game. Von Miller, I can't imagine having that game anymore. He's just not dangerous enough anymore to have that game. I don't think
Anybody with like 3 picks,
right?
Somebody could have a Rod Martin game.
Yeah,
he didn't even win. What did he have to do? 3 interceptions.
Who got MVP that year?
Plunkett. The quarterback is always the easy button.
Even with his face squished in there in the helmet like that, he's still...
Chasing, ADP chasing. They've got all these, when I'm in my house, Joe, you saw, I got my helmets out. I'm trying to block. The guy wants me to move to the middle of the shot. Like, no, because I got to block the garbage behind me on the other side of the room. So I needed to be over here. So you wouldn't see all the mess. They're on the the pool table is now a table.
Yeah.
So at that point, but very, these operations like BetQL Daily, very good looking, sharp looking shows. And ours, we gotta figure out.
You don't see the whole room.
Yeah.
You don't see the whole room.
When you can see the whole room of our thing, when it's working, it looks like a construction trailer.
I thought, like when I started,
that's what it looked like to me yesterday. I'm just saying. I work here. I'm proud of working here, but it didn't look good.
Joe, I thought when I started doing podcasts, it'd be funny to show, like, hey, what does it look like behind the person? So I took a picture of the room from behind the camera and, like, just tweeted it, and not one person did the same thing. Like nobody wanted to show me that what their room looked like, apart from the part we get to see on the camera. So, well, it was a pleasure being on.
I'll say what you guys are thinking with the whole Twitch and the YouTube thing. It's fine. Like I understand we need to be available to everyone, and these platforms are being more and more popular. But we got into radio, so we didn't have to think about any of this, right? We didn't have to think about our appearance or what we're wearing or actually looking at a camera, which, I wouldn't worry about that, Mike, because I'm constantly looking down. I look back in the videos that are sent out. I'm like, oh, I should stop looking to my left. But, if you've got notes, you've got something that you want to say, or you're looking up on the laptop, it's fine. It's all fine. These beautiful backdrops. I'm getting texts like, I need a video of your entire room because we're going to change it up and get rid of these backdrops. I'm like, oh, great. There's another pain in my ass I need during football season.
There's a couple things for me here. One, when I started working at home during the pandemic and we started streaming on Facebook through some different formats that we fooled around with, I almost always... I have an iPad and an iPhone that I work on. I've never had a laptop. The iPad is my laptop. And I use that for all the stuff that I'm, might need during the show, right? Like different stats, anything I'm going to look up, I need the iPad. So I've always used the phone for those links. And Mike, I discovered this, I knew this all along, but it really hit home when I did your summertime, that fantasy draft with you and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see... I've never thought about what it looks like because I usually can't really see it anyways. I've done it on my phone, and it's such a tiny shot, and I'm sitting there talking anyway. I don't really notice what is around me, so I've never really framed a shot. I never really dug in on it. And now that we've got these cameras, it's a camera like right there. I'm waving at. I may think a little more about it, but the glasses and the hat. I've made an effort.
I mean, who knew, Joe, we were going to have to shower someday to go to work? Like, who knew that was going to have to be a thing?
That's what I'm saying.
Wash.
Here's the best part. When you got a ring light in your eyeballs for 4 hours, that's lovely. But anyway,
we will make it work. Hopefully, till they can us. Nice time this morning, Joe. I mean, BetQL Daily is a huge thing, and it was cool to go on with you guys and talk AFC Championship. Did you have anything, just to start our conversation on that, anything I said surprise you or that you wanted to play off of today?
No, I thought it was some good insight, and we were having some debates on Bills players with prop bets, and then you brought us a little bit of, I think, clarity, but also it's opinion, so that is understandable. I have seen a lot of people kind of say lower scoring game, and I'm with you. With the conditions that we're expecting to see, it's probably going to be the Allen Mahomes shootout that many people want. I was wondering, as I brought up to you on the show today, about the tight end position. Like, what are we going to do? Are we finally going to see a Kincaid game? And after talking to you earlier and hearing the last segment, no, we are never, ever going to see the Kincaid game that many people have been waiting on for so long. I like Knox a lot more. I was debating him. And we know the Chiefs, how they have struggled against the tight end position this year, dead last in the NFL. Look, we're not asking for much. It's 13.5 yards for Knox. And for an anytime touchdown, it's 7-1. So that is certainly something that is, okay, it's not on my radar. I'm going to bet it after talking to you.
I just said to Joe and Sam, Kincaid is not a tight end. He should not count as somebody that you factor into the tight end stats because he really doesn't play that position. He plays half the snaps. Knox is playing more snaps than Kincaid, by the way. So, I don't think
has that been game over game, or was that just the Baltimore game? I know the Baltimore game he outsnapped him, but I don't know that
it's been close all year, kind of, I think. I don't know. I will look, but that was a game they had to have.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
I did see Kincaid make a really good block on one running play that I yelled, oh, look, he's actually doing the thing that you got to do there.
But we can't feed our families on blocks.
Right. Right. Joe, I said at the end of last segment, my first thought on this game and, something that is rattling around in my head here is Like, I think, yeah, most likely you see a game where Mahomes and Allen are trading. And, these two defenses really can't keep up, and it's that kind of game. But I feel like that is predicated on the Chiefs' reputation more than it is what they have looked like for almost the entirety of this season. And because of that, but despite that, it's still, to me, the most likely outcome is that, because Mahomes is great, he'll find a way and whatever. Maybe some guy we've never really thought about will come through for Kansas City in the passing game or something. I don't know. But riding right behind that trading bombs idea is kind of a comfortable one side, like a comfortable Bills win, because the Chiefs offense has not been as good as the Bills offense all year, like I'm saying. So I think the next most likely thing to me is 30-20 or something, like a 10-point, kind of like the game here that the Bills and Chiefs played.
Season.
Yeah, right. I mean, they needed the late score to make it a 9-point game, but they got it. I don't know. I just, that's the kind of game I'm thinking about here.
You aren't wrong about anything that you're saying. The MVP conversation. When did Mahomes exit it? In the middle of the year? Wasn't even part of it at all. And that's because of the numbers. And once we were getting the larger sample size, people are like, okay, I get it. Last week, he didn't even throw for 200 yards. Now, that's a very tough matchup, tougher than they're going to see this week against the Bills in the Texans, but it's not like he had an unbelievable game. Now, we got playoff Kelsey. So that makes me think, okay, maybe that guy is going to take it to the level that many of us have been expecting for the playoffs or just waiting for Kansas City all season long, getting his 20th playoff touchdown, and before it's all said and done, he's going to break Jerry Rice's postseason records. That's how impressive he's been. So I thought that was interesting, but it's not like Mahomes had this lights out game. And where else is it going to go? Now they've been getting healthier at the right time, but yeah, outside of Kelsey, where's it going to go? We didn't really see it that much last week. I thought this one number was interesting. Just maybe it's more from a prop perspective or somebody else to look out for, because you guys had mentioned Worthy earlier in the show, and I think a lot of people are looking for those gadget players on Kansas City, Andy Reid, just what you're not expecting coming out of nowhere. Stuckey over at the Action Network had mentioned this, and I thought it was pretty interesting that going into the playoffs this year, if you look at their last 20 playoff games, in 19 of the 20 playoff games, they had non-traditional receivers running the ball. So, so Worthy at a prop of 2.5 rushing yards was something that stood out. And, maybe sometimes you make a big play. We had a conversation about Super Bowl MVP, and if you're going down the board, okay, let's go over Kansas City. Who's the guy? And a lot of people ended up on Worthy at about 70-1 as a super long shot.
Oh, buddy.
Idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
They have to win. I mean, I have to say that here in Buffalo. I have to say that. But, Kadarius Toney was pretty close to Super Bowl MVP, or at least having an argument for it. But Mahomes hadn't won 3 yet. And so now, if they get there, we'll just cap this here. But if they get there,
thank you.
I would love somebody else on the Chiefs. The random defensive player is always an idea for Super Bowl MVP, and that could be anybody. Like yesterday, we talked about this for a minute. Anybody comes up with 2 interceptions or 3 sacks or something, and it's a lower scoring game, then maybe they win.
Yeah.
But I think better chance. This is why Lamar Jackson will not win the regular season MVP award this year. And how did that go? But I think better chance it's a Chiefs player who does that in that game than a Bills player. Because if it's a Bills player, it's still Allen winning his first. And, Mahomes didn't have a great game when they beat San Francisco the first time. Damian Williams might have deserved that award, but Mahomes got it.
Yeah, defensive players, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen once in a while. I took a couple of long shots last week, and I could tell you what those numbers are now. I did take a KC player. I took Chris Jones at 170-1 last week, and now I think he's about 120. You could find him as high as. He could be that. Yes, it's going to be tough to beat Mahomes. It's going to be tough to beat Kelsey. I get all that. But maybe he could have that Von Miller type of game. And also Jalen Carter last week was 650 to 1. And now he's 120 to 1 after having an outstanding game last week in the Eagles' victory. So, yeah, it happens once in a while. If you can get a big number like triple digits, certainly worth a look as far as that goes.
Weren't you two on Bosa last year?
I was waiting to say there was a year here where I liked that idea. We've been doing this long enough that I remember.
Last year.
It was just last year. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Von Miller was the last one where it's come through. It's tough. It's tough. I did take James Cook, too. It's been a while. Who's the last running back to be the Super Bowl MVP? Do you guys know that?
Ooh, I want to know. Wow. Terrell Davis.
Yes. 1998. Very good.
You have a mini helmet? Is that how you?
No, I didn't. I started to collect them all, and then I decided I didn't want anybody like the Brady Manning guys, so I stopped at the first 30. But I have the first 30. But Terrell Davis against Green Bay is the last one. That's good. That's a good question.
That's shocking. So I was thinking about that because obviously took a dart throw on James Cook, and then just the Eagles. So who's the most likely Eagle? The odds are always going to be the shortest on the quarterback.
That's good. That's good.
I think they should be the shortest on Saquon.
Me too.
Yeah. So he's 5-1, and Hurts is also 5-1. If you don't mind a shorter number, and the number is saying the Eagles are going to win and play in the Super Bowl. It's a 6-point spread in this game. What is that number next week? It's going to be pretty darn short. Maybe he's going to be the second favorite on the board. That could be the case. So, yeah, I think Saquon this week, 5-1 because of that number. It makes sense. Like, that's going to go down. And why would it not happen with a guy that had over 2,000 rushing yards? And look at the playoff he's put together. You would assume everything's going to go through him again if they make the Super Bowl.
Good stuff.
Where is Jaden Daniels in all this?
Jaden Daniels, well, it's funny. Basically, the Super Bowl MVP number for Jaden Daniels is the same as the Commanders' Super Bowl win number. Like, there's no difference, and that makes sense. If they're going to win it, it's going to be because of Daniels. I don't see how they could win the Super Bowl, and he's not the MVP. It's 8-1 for both of those numbers.
So you just bet the team?
Yeah, I would just bet the team.
Yeah. You like him at all this week?
No. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I'm not there. But it could. I mean, listen, he has that high ceiling where it could happen. We're talking about a spot with the fourth straight road game. I think about the difference of going on the road and facing a Lions defense with a lot of backups throughout the year, as opposed to this Vic Fangio defense with Jalen Carter in the middle going against a backup guard now because of the Cosme injury. I don't think it's going to be great for the Commanders, even though I shouldn't doubt them. The fourth down rate, I don't know how much longer this can continue with what they're doing every game, but I think it's going to be a different situation.
For me, the biggest reason to doubt them, Joe, is that they're new, and like that just shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't just show up like this with a rookie quarterback and make the Super Bowl. It's not unprecedented, but it's very rare, and so like that's in my head, but. On the other side of that is point well taken on the Eagles' defense. How much do you trust Hurts? How healthy is he? And their passing game, like they've been kind of janky for a while on offense, in and out. Like, so I don't know. Like, to me, they're susceptible to just a bad day.
100%. How healthy is Hurts? How healthy is A.J. Brown? He has been a no-show in the playoffs. He's clearly still dealing with the knee. He has 24 yards in 2 playoff games. He's done absolutely nothing so far. So, yeah, that is definitely a concern, and it's understandable, and I think everything is once again going to go through Saquon. I don't expect them to run Hurts as much as they normally do throughout the season. And you look at Saquon's last 4 games, he's averaging 30 touches. He demolished this Commanders defense in the regular season as well. So I don't really expect that to change with what he's done. 348 total yards in their 2 matchups for Saquon.
Joe, not so much a question about the numbers or the odds, but as we talked about for a moment this morning, the stakes when it comes to the Bills and the Chiefs. and what we'll be talking about, what football fans will have to work with for the next year based on the outcome of this game, what Bills fans will have to work with. I mean, it is so time for them to win. They have beaten Kansas City in the regular season 4 years in a row. And, like, who wants to even talk about that unless they win this game? I mean, if they don't, they will have lost 4 out of 5 years to Kansas City in the playoffs. The Chiefs have lost 7 home games in the last 4 regular seasons, 3 against the Bills. Like, you know how it is. I mean, whether we got into this business to be on camera or not, we got into it to talk about this kind of thing, like the legacy stuff. And this is just a classic example of a game of that importance.
It's remarkable. So when is it going to turn? And I know that's how you guys are framing this and talking about it. Is it going to be time? Since the day the season started, we were talking about this moment, right? It's in the back of everyone's mind. Even though, maybe nationally the expectation was for the Bills to take a step back, here we are again, AFC Championship at Arrowhead, and they've done it in the regular season. It's just a matter of doing it this time of year. And I know with the way that things went last week that everybody's, oh, here we go again. And even Troy Aikman was so bothered by it. I thought that was quite amusing. But, yeah, man, I can't wait. This is why we're in the business. This is why we're all football fans. I like the Bills in the game. I think the best bet is the teaser. I hooked that teaser in a lot of ways last week because you got the Bills at plus 7.5. Like, every game I could find, I'm like, let's tease it with the Bills. And you can get them plus 8 right now. If you like Philly, you just need Philly to win the game if you want to make that combo there. But love that. I like Allen to score an anytime touchdown. I think over 9.5 rush attempts, also not a bad look as well, as teams have certainly run on the Chiefs with mobile quarterbacks throughout the playoffs and much of the year.
I saw quickly, Joe, Alex Gold from KC tweet that, like, Bills money line is the number 1 most bet and the Kansas City money line is the number 3. Is it true that, like, nobody bets the spread when it's 2 or less? You just bet money lines?
I do, but
you tease it.
It's popular. Yeah, I'll tease it. And if I think this game's going down to the last possession and getting the plus 2, I don't mind paying the 10 cents, the minus 110. So I'll do that. I don't mind it. It's funny though. I would be careful with that because every sports book, the action is different. So I don't know which sports book Alex was getting that information with. For instance, the other day we got that same information, in this case from BetMGM, and the most popular bet was Commanders money line. So you never know. And you also have to consider, okay, which states are legal with that sports book and where are they exactly? Because if they're in, Pennsylvania and they're not in the D.C. area, that's going to be thrown off.
Right.
Only so many times you can knock on the door, Joe. Time to walk through. Right, that's what this game. There's a lot of. I think I've been thinking it for a while more about Allen and the MVP than it was like their entire season. But like it's time. It's time. There's Chiefs fatigue. These teams are both good. They've been button heads here for 5 years. It's time. Like I would understand if a fan that is tired of the Chiefs turns this game on Sunday night and the Bills let everybody down again. Like, just come on, Bills. Like, it's not quite like there's 4 Super Bowls in a row, that kind of fatigue. But really, the opportunity they have here is just it's as good an opportunity as I think they could ever have hoped for. I mean,
totally agree.
You'd like to be at home, sure, right? Yeah, come on, somebody hit a field goal, whatever, like ding the Chiefs a couple times, and maybe we're just sitting here with our feet up waiting for KC to come to town. But all the same, I think they've been the better team all year, so just go do it.
Something we've talked about before, but I see it now more than ever, and you guys are in the eye of the storm, so maybe you don't even think about this, but just from being outside of the area, I feel like the Bills are the national team, America's team now. I see more Bills fans, even in the Midwest, than I ever have before. I'm in the dentist chair for an hour and a half yesterday, and my dentist is talking about how her husband is a crazy Bills fan at the game against the Ravens this weekend, and she was a little concerned. I'm like, what are you worried about? She's like, well, a few years ago we got this new TV, and they lost to the Chiefs in overtime in the playoffs. He won't watch that TV. we have this TV sitting there. And so the concern is there is a new TV arriving on Saturday, the day before the game. He's going to get it all set up. She's like, Joe, what if they lose? We got to get another TV. He's never going to watch it. He might smash it.
Good thing that your dentist is this person's spouse and not him, because I don't think I'd want that guy working on my teeth.
No, you get your mouth pried open, you get those tools, and he's just
I
going
can't watch
on
my
and on.
TV anymore because
Right.
I don't think I could have that. But the spouse, I guess that's fine. Joe, thanks for this, and also the invite this morning. It was really fun. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Talk next week about the Bills Super Bowl matchup.
Let's go. Joe Ostrowski, BetQL Daily, also Sundays with Jason Lockenfora. You can hear his content on our station locally, the Bet 1520, although I don't think they have their own local stream. You could stream BetQL.
That's correct. Right.
Though, if you want to see Joe and Sam, and in today's case, me.